My name is Jacqueline Pulido. I am here to tell you about the new book, Latinas in Aviation, a book of stories with passion, power, and breaking into the aviation industry. In here, you'll find stories about wonderful women who are Latinas and have love and passion for aviation and space. My story is called Flying for Dad. I am currently an Airbus 320 flight instructor and a captain, and my favorite aircraft is the Airbus 320. The more you fly it, the more you love it. My favorite quote is, "If God is your co-pilot, switch seats. The Lord will guide you always," Isaiah 58:11. Fun fact, I was the first female pilot at Polaris Airlines. When my sisters and I were little, we would set up our dining room chairs in a row, one in front of the other, to resemble the seat configuration in a commercial airliner. This was our plane, and we were the flight crew. If I was playing dad that day, I would stand by the cockpit like a pilot and welcome imaginary passengers onto the aircraft. Meanwhile, my sister, who would be playing mom, was a flight attendant, helping our passengers find their seats. Then she would begin the pre-takeoff and safety announcements. We all knew those announcements by heart and could recite them in our high, sweet voices because we had flown so often with our parents. Then, when we were ready for takeoff, I would sit down in the cockpit, make the necessary announcements to the cabin, and we would be on our way to some fanciful place. Soon after, snack and beverage service would begin. With childhood games like that, I guess you can see how much of an aviation family we were. My mom and dad met working on a commercial airliner with Mexicana Airlines. They fell in love, got married, and had 3 beautiful daughters who they raised in Toluca, Mexico. My mother stopped flying as a flight attendant to stay home with us, but she made sure we fell in love with aviation. She and my dad did. I have so many memories as a child of seeing my dad in his pilot's uniform getting ready for work. Many, many times he took all of us with him when he had longer flights or a 3 or 4 day layover. We were just babies, but I remember flying to wonderful vacation spots like Chicago, Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, and Los Angeles. Mom always made the trip fun, engaging us by talking about the plane and explaining what was going on in each phase of the flight. We could even visit my dad in the cockpit, and he would explain all the fascinating switches, gadgets, radars, screens, and instruments. All 3 of us were amazed by his work and really admired my dad for what he did. As we grew older, we could fly along with dad too. We would visit our grandparents in Chicago. Flying just became part of our way of life. I was in elementary school when I started telling my dad I wanted to become a pilot just like him. My dream was for us to fly together, with him at the controls as a pilot and me as his co-pilot. Then, when I was 14 years old, my dad started to get sick for a long time. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with him, and then he got his diagnosis. It was a brain tumor. The news devastated us all, and the tumor was operable, but we knew that it would end my dad's flying career. I also knew it was the end of my dream to be his co-pilot. However, it wasn't the end of my dream to be a pilot. He came through the surgery and started treatment, and we did our best to keep his spirits high. When I was 17, my parents sat me down and asked me if I was serious about becoming a pilot. My dad was no longer working and money was tight, but I told them that it was something I really wanted to do and I would give it my all to make it happen. They vowed support to me. And so my mom had to start working to support our family, and we will be forever grateful. In the US, smaller airports are usually within miles but from my hometown, the nearest one was 2 hours. It was a 2-hour drive all the way to Cuernavaca from Toluca. On weekends, we would make it a family outing. My family would relax and picnic while I got my 2 or 3 hours of flying at the airport. And sometimes my grandparents would come to watch me too. They also even helped finance part of my training. When I finally got my pilot's license, it was a bittersweet day when I was able to take my dad up on the Cessna for a flight. I had always wanted to be his first officer, and now he was mine. But when he took the controls, he flew like an angel. I was impressed and amazed when he told me he had not been at the controls of such a small airplane in more than 20 years. He flew it like it was a daily ritual. I knew I wanted to fly with him even more, and I wanted to figure out a way to do that. So, if you want to learn or hear about my story, make sure you get your copy of Latinas in Aviation. And I hope this book inspires you as much as it has done for myself. Thank you.